This week on Africa Weekly, we travel to Uganda and along one of the deadliest roads in the world. We go to Tunisia, where repeated droughts are becoming a cause for concern. And we take a ride on a new type of bus in Madagascar that teaches children how to computer code. But first, a summary of the stories that made the headlines this week. At least 16 people died and 253 injured after a 5.7 magnitude earthquake struck the northwest of Tanzania on Saturday, with shockwaves felt throughout the Great Lakes region and across the border with Uganda, where buildings were razed to the ground. Although earthquakes are fairly common in the Great Lakes region, they are almost always of low intensity. 3 women were killed while staging an apparent terror attack at the main police station in Mombasa on Sunday. Police said the women went into the police station saying they wanted to report a stolen mobile phone before hurling a petrol bomb and stabbing 2 officers. One of the women had a suicide vest on but was shot before she could detonate it. Kenya has been regularly targeted by the Somalia-based Shabab, East Africa's long-time Al-Qaeda branch. And we stay in Kenya, where the government has been criticised for flouting international law as it sends back thousands of Somali refugees living in Dadaab refugee camp in the northeast of the country. The government insists the camp is a training ground for Shabab militants and a drain on national resources. But Human Rights Watch say that the repatriation violates the 1951 International Refugee Convention, as many returns are motivated by fear, going home to face danger, persecution and hunger. Congolese former rebel leader Bosco Ntaganda has gone on hunger strike and is refusing to appear at his international war crimes trial in protest against his detention conditions. Ntaganda has said he is ready to die, accusing the International Criminal Court of failing to give him a fair chance to defend himself. Ntaganda, once dubbed the Terminator, has denied 18 charges of war crimes and crimes against humanity arising out of savage ethnic attacks carried out in the Democratic Republic of Congo by his rebel forces in 2002 to 2003. And finally, cast and crew attended the premiere of a new Nigerian film that tells the story of the country's response to the Ebola crisis. 93 Days chronicles the period after Patrick Sawyer, a Liberian American, collapses upon arrival at the airport in Lagos and is admitted to hospital with fever-like symptoms as the country begins its battle with the deadly disease. The death toll on Uganda's Kampala-Masaka highway has exceeded 200 so far this year, making it one of the deadliest roads in the world.
The 130-kilometre highway connects the Ugandan capital to Tanzania, Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Dangerous driving, like overtaking into oncoming traffic, causes most of the crashes. Last month, 21 people died in a single accident here.
I was travelling with my wife and 7-year-old boy when the accident happened. My wife died on the spot. Our child is now living with relatives. Is still injured and needs treatment, but I can't provide anything since I'm still recovering. And I lost my job because I can't walk properly due to my injuries.
To try to prevent accidents, police have launched an operation codenamed Fiki Salama, meaning reach safely. Since the 11th of August, they've been checking drivers' licences and carrying out speed checks. They've also adopted a zero-tolerance approach to bribing, bringing perpetrators to court. But road users say the government should do more to train up irresponsible drivers.
The main causes of accidents, these are careless drivers and careless driving and people without responsibility. So the government should bring in some organization to educate our drivers in terms of what? In terms of safety.
With the constant threat of death, some have turned to God. Reverend Madad Birungi leads a group of Christians along the highway, blessing the road. He believes the presence of supernatural powers is the cause of the accidents.
A lot of witchcraft and a lot of sacrifice was done and covenants made with these demonic powers that every month people die, they demand blood.
Witchcraft or not, with the rainy season about to begin, authorities are in a race against time to prevent a record number of road deaths this year.
Tunisia is parched. The country, which oscillates between Mediterranean and desert climates, has seen very little rainfall this year. Last month, the Ministry of Agriculture said the situation would become catastrophic if there was still no sign of rain by the end of summer. Residents in poor areas, already marked by sharp social tensions, are stretched to the limit.
We have to buy a water tank for 30 dinar for what we use and what our animals use. We've sent requests to the government, but they remain unanswered. All we can do is wait for rain, God willing.
Tunisia has long been considered one of the countries most affected by water issues. This year, precipitation has dropped by around 30%, one of the worst years for rainfall on record. Repeated droughts have led to agricultural losses of more than 800 million euros in 2016, according to the sector's main union.
We're waiting for rain. Otherwise, agriculture will be negatively affected. There will also be an impact on investors in the fields of plant nurseries and especially plantations that require large amounts of water.
Rainfall is by far Tunisia's largest source of water, but climate change is causing increasingly strong variations. The country's 30 or so dams are seeing their reserves dry out. In just 1 year, water reserves of the Sidi Salim Dam have decreased by 50%.
We still have a month left of consumption before we get to the strategic reserve. In other words, if there's no rainfall by the end of September and we have no other water resources, we will have to use the strategic reserve, and that's a very dangerous situation.
Tunisia's new government says several dam projects blocked since the 2011 revolution have been resumed. But only rainfall can help refill existing dams, and the Ministry of Religious Affairs has called on Tunisians to pray for rain.
Twice a week, this bus makes its way across Antananarivo, Madagascar's capital, but there are no passengers on board. The real journey starts upon arrival at Ivato City Hall, where young people are learning to code. After a dozen lessons, they've already been able to create a computer game.
The ball must touch the pole to score points. If the ball stays on the pole for a long time, the score goes up. But if the ball doesn't stay long, the score only goes up a little bit.
For the past year, volunteers have been teaching basic coding using equipment mostly donated by telecoms company Airtel. For the programme's director, knowing how to code has become an essential life skill.
They could become engineers, or if not, there are many other careers being created each year when it comes to new technologies. So they could create a startup that could solve any problem. Or like us, they could also raise awareness, teach others how to code.
14-year-old Tiana sees a bright future thanks to what she's learning on the course.
I don't have a computer at home, but I do go to a cyber cafe twice a week. I surf the internet, go on Facebook and play Need for Speed. When I grow up, I'd like to create something, create computer games, cartoons, and also have a computer.
About 500 children from 5 of the capital's suburbs were able to attend the free course for 3 weeks. The programme's volunteers hope coding will soon become part of the country's education system, laying the foundations for a new computer-savvy generation.
Freshly inspired by the Rio Olympics, gifted sprinters in Ghana take part in Ghana's fastest human competition, set up by former Ghanaian Olympian Rex Brobbey in 2013 to unearth the next generation of world-class athletes. Next week we'll head to Guinea-Bissau, where a new slavery memorial is giving visitors an insight into the region's traumatic past. That's all from us at Africa Weekly. Until next week.